Hey, Levester, what's up?
What's up, man? How you
How's
doing?
life? How's work?
Work is good.
How's the family?
Family's good.
Man, I love your drip, man. You can tell me about this drip. Just take me through, man.
It's
What you got on?
something light. It ain't nothing much, you know. Just work hard, play harder, you know.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get it?
Yeah, I got you. We want to talk about the African American experience. Of course, I'm an African, born in Ghana, stayed in Europe, came down here to America, start to, find my life. And I'm trying to understand my people, We came from the same roots, but of course, for all these years, that you guys, came here, you have some experiences. Tell me about how your background is like. Like, how did you grow up?
So, I was raised by my aunt and my grandmother. My father was in jail. My mother was a drug addict. But, life, it started out kind of rough, but, as it went on, it wasn't too bad. I saw a lot of things, good and bad, that helped me become the person I am today. Just being more aware of your surroundings and just understanding life and just understanding life and how things work.
All right. I'm almost 10 years here, right? I'm trying to talk like an African, like I'm not changing my accent or anything. I've been in Georgia, I've been in
Always
New
be
York,
yourself.
I've been in Jersey, Missouri,
Yeah.
Kentucky. I've been around. You see, one thing that our people and my brothers, my sisters from Africa don't understand is if I heard you right, you said daddy was in jail and mommy was a drug addict. So basically, this is the background you have.
Yeah.
Sometimes we come from Africa where we had mom and dad and aunties and grandparents in the house guiding us through life, and we made some good decisions, right? But when we come here, we see some lifestyles and hustles and struggles, like you just said. Daddy was in jail and mom was a drug addict. This is something many Africans cannot relate to because most of us don't come from such background. Can you educate us a little bit about how life was with daddy in jail, mom a drug addict? How did you live? How did you eat? How did you pay your bills? How did life go?
I mean, I was 5 years old when I was taken from my mom. So, and I went to go live with my grandmother, and then my aunt eventually, when I was 7, my aunt, she took us in, adopted us, me and my brother. She's a great woman, we had a struggle, but we still lived a good life too. She took us to church. We went on trips, and we got to experience things that other families that lived on our street didn't necessarily get to experience. So we had, sometimes we had less, like J. Cole would say. He said in this line, he said, at times though we had less, but compared to my niggas up the block, we were blessed. So it's kind of that stigma. We had, man, football games, basketball games. We went out of town, different places, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Atlanta, St. Louis, Detroit, Florida. We got to see other parts of the United States. That some of my peers didn't get that.
All right. This is kind of strange to me because I didn't have to experience and my dad in jail, my mom on drug or anything like that. And from Atlanta to Jersey to New York, Kentucky, Missouri, I have a lot of, African American friends. You know that you're my friend at work and everything. And most of the time, the one thing I get from the African American side is sometimes we Africans come here and we don't really appreciate and understand the struggle you guys went through to make things even easier for us to come in and try to get a life. And sometimes it looks like we are a bit ungrateful and not really connected to the struggle that African Americans went through. Can you talk a little bit about that? Can you throw some light on this? Like Africans not really respecting the hustle, the struggle that the African Americans went through to pave a way for us.
Everyone has their own struggle and their own story. They say America, the land of the free, home of the brave. But it's a very challenging country, I would say, because if you want to make money, it's plenty of ways to make money. If you want to whatever you want to be, you can be in America. So, every day we wake up, we get a chance and a choice. So I don't necessarily think that, you came here so you got it good. It's not necessarily like that. There is a stigma, though, or a misconception that Africans or any immigrants that come here, they don't have to pay taxes, they don't have to do this, they don't have to do that. And, you actually told me, no, that's not true. So I think that's where we have to come together a little bit and recognize that. We also have to understand that everyone has their own path.
Like what really brought me here to sit down and really talk about this is you got a college degree, right? Yeah, you got a college degree, right?
Yeah.
And I got a college degree. So when we spoke yesterday at the job and you said most foreigners and Africans come here and they work and they don't pay taxes, I was kind of thrown back because I have been here close to 10 years and I started paying taxes from day one. Look, I know that is being said like, foreigners, they are here, they are getting the benefit, they don't pay tax, Close to 10 years in America. I have never gotten anything free in this country. Like nothing free. I don't know how to get food stamp. I don't know how to. You see, let me tell you this. So most of us, we come from places where there's no social system like that to really give you something. So if you are starving, you are starving. So we don't even know how to say it's a government's job to give us this or that. So when we come here, and I'm not saying every African, but most of us, all we know is just get up and find some means to make some money, right? But we don't know how to sit down and say, like, if you do this, you will get this money, and if you do that, you will get this, you will get that, because we grew up not having to do anything for no free money, right? So, and I get it, and I understand it. So most of us, from childhood, we have, if you have to, hustle, corporate hustle on the street, hustle, selling, carrying things on your, y'all see it on YouTube all the time, like women standing on the street, the hot, sun, selling, trying to make ends meet, because basically the government don't have anything for you, right?
So like now we do have, like you have, so with the food stamps, if let's say if you have 3 children, and then you have yourself and you have your wife, so there's 5 people in one house. Okay, so what they do is they take your they take however much money you make. Let's just say hypothetically, you make $100,000 a year. Okay, so they take that 100,000 and they say, well, you don't qualify for this because the poverty line, in as far as Kentucky, and I think it's nationally too, but the poverty line is, I believe it's like $19,000, $20,000. So, you know, they're gonna look at it like, hey, you don't need this assistance. And so that's kind of what's going on right now with the government, with Trump being in office. He's basically saying that people that need it can have it, but people that don't need it, they don't need to be on there. But which, you know, I have a different take on that. But as far as like food stamps and stuff, man, a lot of people, you know, I received food stamps when I was in college, because I had my daughter, and so it was cool then. But as I got older and started making a little more money, they were like, hey, you can't get these same benefits, you know, even with the healthcare. You know, I have to pay a premium with the healthcare, and this government healthcare that's issued from the government for my daughter. But for myself, I wouldn't be able to, you know, get it. I would have to use my work insurance.
So, what you see, the politics side is there, and politics, you know, it's involving all, you know, different kind of things. But today, I want our conversation to be strictly how the African American sees the African, and how the African sees the African American, and kind of see how we can bridge these two cultures, which I don't see it to be too different, like together, right? So as you talk about the food stamp and the free stuff, most Africans think that, I mean, I want to be honest, I just want to be objective as I can, right? Most Africans think like, you see strong men, they are not disabled, they are not anything, they are just like not hardworking enough to get up and go hustle and make money, but they just want to sit home and look at everything they can get for some money. What do you think about that? Do you think that Africans don't really understand what they are saying, or there is some truth to that?
So I think it just depends on a person's situation, you know? Like, because I know someone, they're on Section 8, which is basically you're getting help to pay your rent. And then they get food stamps, you know, but you have to use that as a stepping stone to get off of the system and stand on you. To me, is standing on your own as a man or woman, you know, because you can't depend on the system. But as far as blacks and Africans, I think there is some type of divide, because black Americans, we already are kind of at each other. There's little to no unity. And so what I see a lot with Africans are, and it doesn't matter if you're from Ghana, from Nigeria, Ethiopia, they're very connected. They're very unified. You know,
I mean,
and that's something that is...
What you say is very right. Like, I always tell people that as an African in America, right, I can fly to Vegas today. I can go to New York today, Jersey today, Trenton. I can go to any city in the U.S. All I need to do is to see one African. And I guarantee you, I can have a place to sleep,
Yeah.
some food to eat.
Yeah.
He may not have known me. He don't even have to know me from no. All he cares is I'm coming from Africa. So do you like at
But
the
with
job,
black-
for instance, right?
With black Americans,
Let me
it
use
ain't
that
like
job.
that.
Let me use our job for example. Like soon as I go there, I see the Nigerians, I see Kenyans. I mean, Ghana and Nigeria, we have our own jollof and whatever beef, but that's just internet something. When we meet, we still, we are cool.
Cordial, yeah.
When you come to the job, for instance, you see all the Africans naturally looking out for each other, right? And just like you said, you don't see the same thing among the African Americans. What can you say to that? Like, what do you think?
So there's
And I'm not judging or anything. I'm just stating objectively. Like you just say how an African comes into the job, he sees another African, they are in his car on break, eating. I'm eating. Kevin comes there, he just wash his hands, put his hand in the food. He won't even ask me. When I go there, I see any African eating, I just wash my hand, go there, start eating. He don't even have to invite me. And you see that and you talk about it, you say you like it. Why is it not so among the African Americans?
I think there's a number of factors. I'm gonna say probably we're not unified. We don't have trust. We don't look at the next black man as that's my brother unless we know them or we've been through situations with them. Sometimes we have issues where we could just be walking down the street and we'll mug somebody and because we might not like necessarily something that they got on, or we might be jealous of the car he's driving or the woman he's with, and so that is the biggest I would say the biggest thing that hurts black Americans is just being unified. And I'm going to say that a lot through this interview because we're not unified. And that's something that has been edged into the culture to not be unified and not be my brother's keeper or look at the next black man or black woman in an honest eye, because it's like, okay, is he gonna try to rob me? Is he gonna try to shoot me? That comes up through a lot of people's heads. Because I'm not gonna lie, I tend to do it myself, because if I'm walking down the street and I see a couple young kids, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm paying attention to everything that they're doing, and if I'm in enough distance to where I can hear them talking, I'm listening to what they're saying, because that's just kind of how we've been programmed to look at each other as if we're the enemy, when in fact we're not the enemy.
I agree to you, to a large extent. When I came to America like years ago, I would just say that, but why can't they just do this? Why can't they just do that? Why just can't they come together, build together? But now, with more knowledge and more experience here, I kind of think like, we Africans, we came here by our will. By either through family ties or whatever, we took flights, we did plan and came here. On the other side, the African American didn't really plan to come here. He was kind of uprooted, kind of taken, against your will. Do you feel like the struggles in the past and all these experiences had led to this mistrust?
Oh yeah.
Among and among each other, and I don't have that experience, so I'm not going to try to say I understand. We may think we do understand, but I don't think we do. And I would like the African American By the way, you like to be called African American or black or how? Black American,
you know,
African
it doesn't-
American, black.
To
Which
me, I
which
don't
one is the
necessarily.
I don't get the
necessarily
politics
care.
right.
Yeah, I don't necessarily care. African American, Black American, you know.
But to the general, to the general African American, like how do they?
They
properly
probably prefer Black American.
Black American. Okay, so can you educate us, like some of these systematic, and that's the word I keep hearing. Oh, these Africans don't understand the systematic racism. And it has become like this big word that
So
we don't seem to understand. Can you educate us about this?
So
Systematic racism.
the West Indian. So back, I believe it was like in the 1700s. There were, black people were enslaved, and so there was this white man named William Lynch.
You said what year again? What
1700s. So
but this is some huge education and life.
So, and sometimes
What's the name again?
his name is William Lynch.
I never heard that name.
And so he had the Willie Lynch letters, and some historians say, oh, it doesn't align with the time period, but to me that's them trying to not place that what he said, how to control your slaves, because he put the older slaves against the young slaves, light skin versus the dark skin, men versus women. And so that mindset has a psychological effect on us to this day. And he said it'll be able to rule them for 300 plus years. Well, what, 1700, 1800, 1900, 2000? We there. But a lot of problems is that we have with systematic racism is that a lot of people are not, they call it woke, but I would say at times we're still a slave mentally, not physically, but mentally. And so a lot of people don't necessarily understand when people say that. They don't, oh, well, what are you talking about? What are you saying? Well, it's, kind of like, oh, I don't like this person because they're, how they're carrying themselves, or their skin color, and we're all the same. Yeah. We're all black people. It doesn't matter light, dark, brown. It's all the same. And so with the systematic racism, you see it in the world today, especially in the United States. You don't necessarily see it as that way, because a lot of times things can happen. Like, I can give you an example. So when I was working for the school system, I always, came to work, I did my job, the principal, was telling me every day, you're doing a great job, I appreciate you. But when I had an incident that occurred, now it was like she's against this black man. And, in the incident, I did nothing wrong. I came to her with the problem, and then she wanted to give me reprimands and suspend me. And I'm like, how are you doing this? And I'm coming to you about a problem that's affected me, not necessarily playing the victim, but, and she was a black woman, and she, basically told me, cause she started yelling, and, and I told her, I said, hey, we're humans. I'm a man. Please respect me as such, and she was older, but that's where at times it kind of interferes too. We have like even we have in America we have our own, not just racism where the white people or the Hispanics are racist towards us. We have racism within our own people too. You know, and to me, I wouldn't necessarily say that was racism. I just think she was trying to exercise her power when there was no need to.
Let me chip in this. See, today I like to streamline the conversation between the African and the African American or Black American situation. Do you feel like, let's say me and you are the same job, right? Do you feel like you have a way of seeing this systematic racism that I don't see? Because sometimes we will be at the same job and you will be saying and mentioning some things that I don't typically see. Do you feel like your experience here makes you more alert and aware about these things to identify them than the typical African would do?
Oh, yes. Because it could be something as simple as placing a patient with this patient, you know, or how a patient is treated, how a black patient is treated versus how a white patient is treated. Or if that particular black person, you know, if they, I don't know how to really.
So let me.
I don't know how to really say it.
You know,
without,
we're not trying to create controversy. I'm just trying to find a way. I'm just trying to find a way where we can clear all these misconceptions between Africans and African Americans and find a bridge and a uniting factor, right? So when an African typically says that, oh, you guys are playing this racism card too much and it's been years, so wake up from this quote unquote excuses and get your hustle on and do something. Do you think the African really understand what he or she is saying, or they just don't understand?
Oh no, I think they do. I think, honestly, I think for Black Americans, reason why they don't necessarily understand Africans is because we're not aware of our culture and where we come from. We just know sports or this famous singer or rapper. We don't necessarily have, like today, I ate at your house today.
You saw
I had a Ghana dish.
You ate with your fork and knife. I ate with my hands. And y'all be talking about that when I bring food to job. Like, Josh, why you eating with your hands? Like, and I always say, you guys eat. You see how you eat pizza with your hands, right?
Yeah.
The African dishes, culturally, we feel like we can use fork and knife. I can go to any restaurant in the world and use fork and knife if I want to. But you are eating kenke, you are eating fufu, you are eating banku. These foods, culturally, we feel like you should wash your hands and get a bowl and roll it and mash it, like turn it around. We feel like it gives it some extra vibe and culture, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes
I don't have that.
But sometimes this is what it is. Sometimes I'm not trying to be African here, and I'm not trying to be African. I go both ways. I have African friends, African American friends, everything. I don't see people by their race. I see you for who you are,
Yeah.
All right. I always tell people that the prisons and the jails in the U.S. it's not empty. And the prisons and the jails in Africa are not empty either. So both cultures got good and bad people. It depends on who you are dealing with.
Yeah.
But I feel like because we don't know and understand each other, we may do certain things that